Hi, my name's Nikki. I'm the Obsessive Bookseller, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my Tackling the TBR lineup for October 21. The first one on the list, I'll be continuing The Memories of Ice, Book 3 in the Malazin series by Steven Erikson. I'm really loving this one so far. I'm about 10% through. Now, the first book in this series took me over a year to get through. The second one took me about 4 months. So I have this preconceived notion that if I'm going to pick up a Malazin book, it's going to take me several months to get through. But I think that was just circumstantial because I've only been reading this one for a week and I'm already 10% through. Now granted, this one is a lot less dense than those first two books. We are finally coming full circle back to some characters we've met before, which makes it a lot easier to follow. And I've also done a couple of the short stories of Bachelon and Corbel Broach, which gives me an added bit of history to some of the people introduced in here. But here's the thing about this one. Even though it's less dense than the first two, it still takes a bunch of concentration to read. And as I mentioned in a previous ramble video, I'm trying really hard to only read one book at a time. And as an update to that, I have been picking up just one book at a time and it has been working brilliantly. I'd say my reading enjoyment has skyrocketed since I started doing that, and I find myself enthusiastic to read again. Yay! But the problem with that method with this one is that I can't pick up an audiobook and just roll with it while I'm doing daily things. I really have to pick this one up physically and concentrate on it. So for the time being, even though I could devote my entire month to just this one book, I need something to listen to while I clean. So I will be picking up books simultaneously. 2 at once. No more than 2 at once. Probably. While I'm reading that heavy book, I want to be listening to a few lighter titles, and I've been really wanting to pick up another urban fantasy series, and the one that I have chosen is the Dark Angel series by Carrie Arthur. It's a spin-off of her Riley Jensen series, and of all urban fantasies, this one does lean a little more paranormal romance. The love story, sex scenes are all a little more prominent in this series than most. But, you know, I like them. They're a bit more robust than a romance, but not quite as hardcore as like the Dresden Files. It's a very light read. I've already read this first one years ago, and I'm rereading it to finally continue and finish the series. And next, I'd like to continue the Vlad Taltos series by Stephen Brust. I'm on book 4, which is called Taltos. This is a compilation, and it has that book in it. And these are really cool books. They're like kind of a hodgepodge of genres. So it reads like an urban fantasy. It's set in a high fantasy world. There's a really fun dragon sidekick. The main character reminds me of Harry Dresden, speaking of. And every book is a self-contained little mystery story, so that is why the author says it really doesn't matter what order you read them in, but I'm going by how it's listed on Goodreads. These are another short, easy read that I can do in the background while I'm reading Malazin. And what's more, it'll count towards my audiobook completion challenge that I'm running. I'm hoping to get 15 books read from my Audible library done by the end of the year. And so far I've done 2. And Malazin was one of the audiobooks, even though I'm reading it physically, so I'm counting it, but this will be number 4. And if I finish those, I would like to pick up Neverwinter by R.A. Salvatore. It's book 2 in the Neverwinter cycle, 4 books, but it's book like 20 something in The Legend of Drizzt. I love this series. I got a little burnt out with Gauntlet Grimm and set it down thinking, okay, I'll give it a few years and then pick it up again. That way I'll be really excited to read it, because I felt like at that point I was just going through the motions. I'd read a bunch of them back to back to get caught back up. But now I didn't realize the author was going to keep writing in this series, because now there's at least 10 books published since I stopped reading that I need to get back to. And I read a recent review of the most recent one, and it was like stellar. And it got me really excited to get back into the series again. And as a bonus, this will also count towards my audiobook completion challenge. So overall, if I read this book this month, it would not only count towards a bunch of challenges, but it would alleviate some of the anxiety that I have that I've let the series get so far ahead of me. So I did the math, and at the current rate that I'm reading Malazin, it'll probably take me 2 months to get through. But it's so good, and I'm so committed to it at this point, and I'm hoping I can get through it a lot quicker than that. But I don't want to rush it because I'm really enjoying it. If by some miracle I do finish it by the end of the month, I would like to finally pick up A Little Hatred by Joe Abercrombie. I won't go into it because I keep bringing this one up on my Tackling the TBR videos, and then it keeps getting pushed back for whatever reason. I think I'm kind of saving it for a rainy day, but it would not make sense to experience this one at the same time as Malazin. I feel like they're too similar. So yes, if I finish Malazin, I will pick this one up, but you will most likely see this for like the 3rd or 4th month in a row on my next Tackling the TBR post. Just warning you. And then on the side, I will also be picking up a book called You Sexy Thing by Kat Rambo. It's a weird title, but I picked it up for review for audio production quality. It's a new book from Tor, and it's kind of like a Top Chef meets Farscape is how I've heard it described. And I've actually already started this one, and they are very much overplaying the cooking and restaurant aspect of it. That really hasn't gotten much of a focus yet. Don't let the taglines fool you. I think this is going to be a very like Becky Chambers comparable sci-fi. And my nonfiction for the month, I'm still working my way through the Anthropocene Reviewed. Really loving it. He's got such a cool lyrical writing style, and I can see how he's kind of weaving the plot lines together through it. And if I have time, I would also like to pick up The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. It's one that I picked up on an Audible sale, so again, towards the audiobook completion challenge. But it's also one that I've been really interested in. I've studied it a little bit in psychology in college, but yeah, we'll see what it's all about. So that's my lineup. It feels ambitious, but I'm also enjoying reading more now than I have in years. Having so many books on the lineup is not intimidating to me anymore. Now it's just fun. What books are on your lineup this month? Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to catch you next time. Bye.